Welcome, folks. We are at Antelope Island State Park, just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. The park is actually in the Salt Lake for what's left of it. They've had a terrible drought here, so the lake is way down. And they also had some construction issues, so they have no water. The well that they dug for the water or something came up bad, so there's no water in the whole park while we're visiting. Now, by the time you see this video, that probably will be fixed. But I was looking for at least electric and water hookups while we were here to relax and enjoy, and having showers and all that, but they had no water in the whole park. So we had to fill up our freshwater tank and live off that, which was well done. They had a gas station in front of a grocery store up the road about 3 miles that had a really good setup for filling a trailer or a camper. They had a nice water spigot out in the middle of the parking lot and a little island, and you could pull up next to it and hook up a hose and fill up your stuff. So that worked out pretty good. So we were all right. But this is a pretty neat park. It's pretty cool. They call it an island because I think you have to drive a 2.5 mile long causeway to get onto the campground, the park property. And while you're doing that, you're watching all these shorebirds along the edge of the causeway, picking at the shrimp in the water. The park is pretty wide and vast. It is an island, but I think the lake was so far down that it actually did connect to the mainland on the southern tip. The southern end of this whole island is a ranch that was the early Mormon ranch where they made wool and they raised sheep, and so it's a pretty historical little area. They have a lot of trails, and they have fires are only allowed in fireplaces designated at sites, because the whole island is pretty much covered with this grass that if one blade of it happens to catch fire, the whole island's going to go up in a real fast moving grass fire. There are 4 campgrounds on the island. Bridger Bay, which is electric and water, and then White Rock Bay Campground, which is pit toilets only. Ladyfinger Campground, no water or electricity, pit toilets only. And Split Rock Bay backcountry campsites, 4 primitive campgrounds where you have to backpack into. They have a mulching toilet, no shade, no water. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty hot and miserable spot on a hot summer day, because you can't go swimming in the water. We were told that if you go down to the beach along the water, there were hundreds of dead birds, and they weren't sure if it was from a bird flu or from a algae bloom that killed them. But there were tons and tons of dead birds, and I don't know if we didn't see any vultures or anything, so I don't know what was cleaning them up, but we were warned to keep the dog away, because they'd probably, kill the dog if he ate one of them birds. we're kind of just driving around here and giving you a tour of the island. Um, the state park campground end is the north end, and the south end is the ranch. And the ranch is pretty interesting. And when we were there, all the bison were down in the ranch. Um, they just wander down there, but they tend to stay around in a herd. But all the baby bison were there, and the ranch actually had water and flush toilets, so we made use of that while we were there. But I think at the end of this video there will be some video of the ranch and what the ranch has, because it's historically intact from way back when it was supplying food and labor and products to the Mormon church. It's still all there, so it's neat. So this is the road up to the campground I was at, and as you can see, it's a pretty nice campground. It's well spaced. There's a lot of space between each of the sites, and they're pretty deep. The driveways into the sites, whether they're back in or pull through on the parallel to the road, they are still very long and spacious. We did have electricity, which was nice. That gives me electrical hot water, so I don't have to run propane for hot water or cooking. And of course, we had air conditioning because you're not in any shade on this island. It's a really nice place to come in the late fall or early spring. But we drove around the campground once, and then we drove into the dump station and dumped our tanks, because of course you don't need water to dump really. We were full because we had filled in as we came onto the causeway. The attendant told us that if we wanted water, we had to go outside the park and up the road to this gas station to get water at, and so we did that, which is good. The only problem is I got a leak in one of my tanks from my fresh water tank. I don't know if it cracked from being frozen or something, or if I did damage to it while putting in the solar panels, which I did once and I had to fix it, but I don't know if I did it more than once. So we got to look at it and put some epoxy on it to fix it. This is the road to the ranch. The ranch is the place where the LDS, the Mormons, grew their cattle and food. It's the oldest building in Utah that's still on its foundation, its original foundation and purpose. There were birds everywhere in the water. Along the causeway, there are these huge flocks of birds. We didn't go down near the water anyplace else, but this is right off the causeway. You can see all these birds. There's quite a few species here. I identified probably at least 6 different species. So they're there, and then out on the out in the on the ranch, the buffalo were resting and relaxing in the grass, and the baby buffalo were running around being pretty cute. I should have taken some video of this, but there's the little baby buffalo from this year jumping around and running into their mothers and fathers and stuff and causing trouble. But they were neat. Right outside my campground was this nest of burrowing owls, and they were quite cute. They had these great big long legs and these great big eyes, and they were out there during the day. Um,
This is
I'm
the
not sure
historic
where these
ranch.
buffalo were going or what they
There
were
were all the
doing, but
bison.
they were moving around pretty fast going in the southerly direction. There must have been a water
This
trough or
is like
something
where
way
the
down there because they were
Mormons
always on the move.
ranched for food and meat and all that stuff. So it's a couple hundred years old. Not a couple, but it's 100 years old. Let's see if we can find some information. Okay, this is the actual ranch house area. It's a great big barn and some stone buildings. And there's the lake way out there, almost dry. See the lake way out there? Looks like there's a little water flowing through it. This is the barn with all the stuff. It's got belts up there that must have run something. Oh, here's the motor. Must have been a steam engine. Big woven belts. And extra belts. They go up there and run the whole thing. And they got a basketball hoop. They weren't all queer. They weren't all duds. And it looks like they got some gasoline thrashers. Probably a pretty productive area when there's water. Except really the salt water isn't probably good for things, but like any farm, ranch, whatever. Or the horses. I guess you can trail ride with the horses. Some grain silos. Truck loaded up with hay. Pause it if you want to read it. The sheep would be taken up this ramp through the doors behind you, and they placed in holding pens waiting their turn under the mechanized shears. Prior to automated shearing systems installed in this barn, laborers sheared sheep by hand. A skilled shearer could process a sheep in 30 minutes by hand. A skilled worker using mechanized shears could finish with a sheep in about 5 minutes. This is the wool mill. The wool, they shear the sheep there, and then the wool would go on here and drop into a bag where it was packed solid and tied up. It's quite a breeze going through here. Nice bench. Pretty interesting. I hope that's my eyes that are out of focus and not the camera.